What's up? It's Solange here, and you're on concreteloop.com.
Hey everyone, it's Angel, and right now I'm in Brooklyn with the beautiful Solange.
Thank you.
You know, we've been trying to do this interview for a while
yes,
now. Yes,
I'm very happy it's actually coming to fruition. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
but I appreciate
you. Look gorgeous yourself.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
No, I appreciate you sitting down with us. I know you're feeling a little bit under the weather, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm cool.
But yeah, so you announced earlier this year that you were launching a new record company.
Yes.
Called Saint Records.
Yes.
So how did that whole thing come about?
Well, this will actually be my 4th album that I'm working on now, and I've released 2 records on major labels, 1 on an independent label, and I saw some really, really beautiful qualities in both experiences, and then some not so fun experiences.
On the corporate side, kind of?
On both sides, on the indie scale, on the major scale. And so I really just wanted to create a home that empowered artists who already had a strong sense of development, who already had a strong sense of their own artistic integrity, and really wanted to take the reins in empowering, especially young Black R&B artists, and sort of shaping and molding our own industry and our own lane. And it's always a thing where it's like, if you're complaining about something that doesn't exist, you got to do something about it. And so I'm really, really excited, to house my own projects, but I'm more excited to house other projects. And actually my first one is going to come out in November, so I'm extremely excited.
All right, we can't wait to hear that one.
Yes.
So how did you come up with Saint Records? Like, it's dope.
Really,
I like the way it flows off the mouth. So it sounds fly, so.
I really wanted to create something very regal and very strong. I also have a serious love affair with New Orleans. So all of those elements combined really kind of created Saint Records.
Okay. So is that going to be based in New York, the record company, or is it going to be in New Orleans?
Both.
So both. Okay.
Both. I actually have half of the team is here, and the other half of the team is there in New Orleans. Okay. So it's the best of both worlds.
Dope.
Yes.
So speaking of Brooklyn,
yes.
You live in Brooklyn right
yes.
now. How has living in Brooklyn inspired like your music and everything else?
It's such an inspiring borough. It's such an inspiring place in so many different ways and facets. I mean, just a walk down the street inspires me incredibly. Stylistically, there's just so many dope girls I know in interviews all the time. I get asked, who are my style icons? And I'm like, the girls of Brooklyn, honestly. And there's just a lot of artistic freedom here. There's a lot of personal freedom, and it's a very ambitious city to live in. It definitely motivates you to grind and to work and to be surrounded with like-minded people. And I think it just fosters a very creative, spirited person. And it's great to have a city that celebrates diversity the way that Brooklyn does on every level.
That's true, like musically, like using the artistry and everything. Like,
absolutely. And just like racially, economically, socially, religiously, there's just so many different types of people here, and to be able to experience that in so many different ways is really awesome. And I love Julez being able to grow up in an environment and seeing that diversity celebrated. It's really dope.
Yeah, speaking of Julez, I had a question, like, you're a mother. How has that inspired you, like, as a person? Like, what is one thing you learned?
Majorly. Every day I'm learning something. I really, really, just on the tip of, like, laughing my ass off every day. We were at Coney Island the other day doing a shoot, and those shorts that have like the names on the butts?
Yeah.
They had one that said Brooklyn, and it was tie-dye. I thought they were super ill, and he was like, that's inappropriate for your age.
Ooh, how
and I
old
was
is
like,
now?
excuse me? He's 8, about to be 9. He said, those are made for 17-year-old girls.
Ooh.
So, I mean, he definitely keeps it real when no one else.
That's a good thing, though, right?
Exactly. The level of honesty in youth is just, so raw and unfiltered. But he's also just such an eclectic kid. There's so many different vibes and corners and tunnels in him. It's just endless. You know, he's grown up by the grace of God. It's been so blessed for him to be able to travel with me and see and experience and have the exposure that he's had, but then also go back to Houston with his dad and just kick it. You know what I mean? So he's definitely a very spirited kid, and every day just inspires me to really, in my own little piece of the puzzle, just shape and mold this world into a place that, you know, he can grow up in, which it really changes when you have a kid. I know even just on the social level of, you know, some of the issues that America has experienced over the last couple of years, you know, just really, really wanting, again, to get out there and do the work in whatever way that I can, whatever little piece that I can contribute to make this the place that, you know, he's going to grow up and raise his kids in. So
yeah, and I remember you tweeted, like, you know, you're raising a young black male.
Yeah.
You know, everything with Trayvon Martin. You spoke out in Brooklyn a couple months ago about that as well. So that's inspiring to hear that you're instilling that in him. You know,
for sure. Male, you know? For sure. I really, really, I really try to keep him as open to all of those social issues. And, you know, there's been arguments of what's too young to introduce those conversations, et cetera. But I think the earlier you have a sense of the real world and the truth, the earlier you're able to develop those decision-making tools when you're in those positions. And it's a reality, you know. Racism, prejudicism doesn't care what age, what class, what background, and it's important for him to really understand that at a young age.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm going to get back to the music in a little bit.
Okay.
But I like the vibe of this, the way it's going.
Thank you.
So I wanted to go a little bit about being a woman, you know?
Yes.
I feel like we've known each other for a while.
We
and we've
have.
seen each other kind of grow. I was looking back on some of the earlier pictures. I was like,
whoa,
do not show anybody that picture of me.
Absolutely.
But I feel like we both, like, well, me personally, I feel like I see you, like, your growth and your evolution as, you know, becoming yourself and myself as well over a few years. So how has, like, becoming a woman, like, influenced everything else in your life?
Well, I love that you asked that because it's true. You know, we actually first met, I guess it's been like 5 or 6 years now, and it's been wonderful to see you evolve and grow in your craft and get deeper and deeper into that as well. And, you know, I think that's one thing that is one of the more challenging things of being an artist in such a public forum is having those transitions so publicized, so in your face, so documented. And, you know, it's really a strange sort of momentum to have that happen and to be able to look back and Google search on any and every one of those phases. And I've gone through so many different evolutions and transitions. It really took me a long time to figure out how to take all of my influences and all of the things that inspired me and make them a part of me. You know, I was very isolated in those phases, which a lot of young people experience, you know, back in my first album, my solo star days.
But that was, I don't know, you was in like the reggae, I remember the video with the braids.
For sure. Thank you. But it definitely, you know, was that teenage passion of wanting to project, you know, the things that you thought were so deep and made you so, you know, different. And so I definitely had that phase of like, I was a vegan and I actually cut my hair off at that time for the first time I wore braids, but everything I wore had to come from the thrift shop. And that was my like teenage, embarrassing, annoying ass rebellion. And, you know, you grow and you evolve and you learn how to really connect all of those things in a really organic way. And so it's been a a really, really great journey, but I wouldn't take one phase, one element away.
Yeah, because it makes you who you are right now.
Absolutely.
Because that would deter and mess up the whole flow
For
of everything.
For sure,
yeah,
absolutely. So I don't know, womanhood is like, always evolving, and it will evolve more, I'm sure. And, I think confidence is key in all of that, and having the support system and having the space to really grow and develop is super important. And, up until really Julez started school, my life had just been a constant transition. I was essentially a nomad,
Moving around a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I started off at 13. I danced for Destiny's Child for a couple of years. Then I did Solo Star, so I was touring that. And then I jumped right into marriage and motherhood. I moved to Idaho. I was really isolated there. And then I released Hadley Street, which, I toured a lot. And so it really, really was such a pivotal moment for me to have that stability of Julez being in school, sort of functioning on a 9-to-5 schedule, which I literally hadn't done since I was 13, you know what I mean? And being in a home and having a closet and not living out of a suitcase. And I don't know, all of that was super, super essential to my growth.
So speaking of, I heard you say something about closets and having a closet for the first time, not being a nomad. You're like a fashion icon, fashion trendsetter type thing going on right now with the prints and patterns and the colors.
Yes.
So a lot of people are like, anytime you do like a hairstyle or you wear something, a lot of people kind of, I like to say bite or like follow that. So how does it feel to be like a trendsetter though?
I really, really take that with a grain of salt. I'm just so humbled by it and so incredibly moved by any time I see, that kind of thing, shape and mold.
Yeah.
But I'm just such a student and I'm influenced by so many ill people. So I still consider myself, a fan, still learning and growing. I'm actually right now having a little bit of fashion fatigue over the last few months.
What you mean? Like, explain.
Well, I think, I started recording and writing and producing this next record about 4 months ago. And it's like when you're in that space, it's kind of all that matters. So it's like going to events and going to things, it's starting to get to that zone where I'm just like, this'll work,
Over it, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure that will evolve in itself. But, I definitely have over the last couple of months been like, okay, I'm a little tired of clothes. So I'm looking forward to when that excitement jumps back in. Yeah. But right now it's really, really been about the music. It's really been about traveling. Over the last few months, I've taken trips. I went to Senegal, I went to Croatia, just sort of gathering inspiration and clearing my mind and getting clarity on the influences for the record. And I actually went upstate for about a month. And started writing there. And so the last thing you want to do when you're upstate in the country is like be cute. So transitioning back into that for Fashion Week and
like I like to call it chill mode. Like when you're in chill mode, you don't. That's how I am. You don't feel like getting ready. You got to get ready. You got to put your face on. You got to do all this extra. Yeah. No, that's how it is.
Yeah, it feels like that. So.